Josh Hurley, a 34-year-old software entrepreneur, returns home triumphant from a business trip, eager to celebrate his 5th anniversary with his wife, Donna. But what he expects to be a night of love and laughter takes a sinister turn, revealing secrets, betrayal, and a shocking attempt to destroy his life. What happens when trust is shattered by jealousy? Josh Hurley was living the dream, or so it seemed. At 34, he was a self-made software entrepreneur with a thriving company, Hurley Software Solutions. His brilliance and determination had earned him respect in the tech world, and his latest achievement, a lucrative business deal in Seattle, was the cherry on top. This deal promised to stabilize his company's finances for years, securing not just his future, but also the livelihood of his employees. But Josh's success wasn't limited to his professional life. He had been married for 5 years to Donna, a fitness trainer with a captivating energy that once lit up his world. Together, they appeared to be the perfect couple, a blend of ambition and passion. Yet behind closed doors, their relationship was far from perfect. Donna's jealousy often cast a shadow over their happiness, leading to countless arguments over imagined affairs and mistrust. Despite the strain, Josh remained hopeful. With their anniversary approaching, he was determined to prove his devotion and remind Donna of their love. He planned a romantic evening, envisioning a fresh start for their marriage. Little did he know that Donna's insecurities had spiraled out of control, setting the stage for a series of events that would test the very foundation of their relationship. The Seattle trip was a resounding success for Josh. After weeks of meticulous negotiations, he had finally closed a deal that would bring in much-needed cash flow for his company. He felt a sense of accomplishment as he celebrated with Lisa, his 29-year-old younger sister, who happened to be in town for her own work conference. Over dinner, they laughed and reminisced about their childhood, sharing stories that reminded Josh of simpler times. It was an innocent moment of familial bonding, captured unknowingly by a mutual acquaintance who happened to be at the same restaurant. The photo, posted on social media, showed Josh and Lisa deep in conversation, with Lisa's face partially obscured by her hair. To anyone who knew them, it was a harmless snapshot, but to Donna, it was damning evidence of infidelity. As Josh wrapped up his trip, excited to share his success with Donna, she was spiraling into a storm of suspicion. Fueled by her insecurities, she didn't bother to ask for an explanation. Instead, she let her imagination take the lead, planning a scheme that would turn their anniversary into a day Josh would never forget, for all the wrong reasons. Josh's heart was light as he landed back in his hometown. The business deal had gone better than expected, and he was looking forward to celebrating both his professional success and his 5th wedding anniversary with Donna. He imagined walking into a home filled with laughter and warmth, with Donna's smiling face waiting for him. But as he opened the door, the silence hit him like a wall. The house felt cold and empty, as though no one had been there in hours. The lights were off, and there were no signs of the anniversary preparations he had hoped to see. "Donna?" he called out, but his voice only echoed back at him. He checked the kitchen, the bedroom, even the backyard. But Donna was nowhere to be found. A wave of unease washed over him. Donna's car wasn't in the driveway, and she hadn't left any note or message about where she might be. Josh tried calling her, but the calls went straight to voicemail. He paced the living room, replaying the last few weeks in his head, searching for any sign that something was amiss. Was she upset with him? Had he missed an important detail in their conversations? Hours passed, and Josh's worry deepened. Just as he was about to call the police, his phone buzzed with an incoming call. It was Donna. Her voice sounded calm, even cheerful, as she apologized for her absence. "I've been working on a surprise for our anniversary," she explained. "Meet me at this address. You'll love it." Relief mingled with confusion as Josh scribbled down the address. He wanted to believe her, but something about her tone felt off. Still, He shook off his doubts, grabbed his keys, and headed out the door, hoping the unease gnawing at him was nothing more than fatigue. As Josh followed the GPS directions, he couldn't help but notice the gradual shift in his surroundings. The city's bustling streets gave way to a rundown neighborhood filled with boarded-up windows and dimly lit alleyways. The address Donna had given him led to an old house with peeling paint and a sagging porch. A group of men loitered outside, their piercing gazes fixed on him as he parked his car. Josh hesitated, his instincts screaming at him to turn back. But his love for Donna and the hope that this was all part of her elaborate surprise pushed him forward. He stepped out of the car, forcing a smile as he approached the men. "Donna sent me," he said, his voice steady despite the growing knot in his stomach. One of the men, tall and broad-shouldered, looked him over before jerking his head toward the house. "She's inside," he said gruffly. Josh's pulse quickened as he climbed the creaking steps and entered the house. The air inside was heavy, filled with the scent of damp wood and something sour. The dim lighting cast eerie shadows on the walls, and the faint sound of muffled voices drifted from below. "Downstairs," another man said, pointing toward a staircase. Josh descended slowly, his heart pounding in his chest. As he reached the basement, his breath caught in his throat. The scene before him was surreal and horrifying. A stage had been set up with a bed, bright lights, and a camera on a tripod. Donna stood at the center, dressed provocatively, her eyes burning with anger. Josh felt the walls close in as he realized this wasn't a celebration. It was a trap. As Josh stood frozen in the basement, his mind raced to make sense of what he was seeing. Donna, the woman he had loved and trusted for 5 years, was not the wife he thought he knew. Her eyes blazed with a mix of fury and satisfaction as she stepped closer, her voice dripping with venom. "Well, well, look who decided to show up," she said, circling him like a predator. "Did you think I wouldn't find out, Josh? That I wouldn't see the picture of you and your little girlfriend, dining together, laughing while I'm here like a fool?" Josh blinked, stunned by her words. "Donna, what are you talking about? That was Lisa, my sister," he exclaimed, his voice cracking with disbelief. But Donna wasn't listening. She had convinced herself of his betrayal, and nothing he said could break through the narrative she had constructed in her mind. She gestured to the bed and the camera, her smirk widening. "You're going to know what it feels like to be humiliated," she hissed. "These are my friends, Josh. They're here to help me teach you a lesson. The whole world will see what a cheating husband deserves." Josh's stomach churned as the pieces fell into place. This wasn't just a confrontation. It was a carefully planned act of vengeance. The men in the room were there to enforce her twisted plan, and Donna seemed to revel in the power she held over him. "Donna, you're making a huge mistake," he pleaded, his voice firm despite the panic rising inside him. "That photo was innocent, and you're about to destroy everything we've built over a lie." But his words only seemed to fuel her rage. "Liar!" she screamed, motioning to the men. "Tie him up!" As they closed in, Josh's instincts took over. He knew he had to act fast if he had any hope of escaping this nightmare. The men advanced toward Josh, their expressions cold and unyielding. He felt their hands grab at his arms, forcing him toward the bed. Adrenaline surged through his veins as he struggled against their grip, his mind racing with survival instincts. He wasn't about to let Donna's plan unfold without a fight. "Let go of me!" Josh yelled, twisting his body with all his strength. The element of surprise worked in his favor as he managed to break free from their hold momentarily. Fueled by fear and anger, he lunged toward one of the men, delivering a swift punch that sent him staggering backward. The room erupted into chaos. Josh grabbed a nearby chair and used it to fend off the remaining attackers. The clatter of furniture and shouts echoed in the confined basement as he fought with everything he had. Years of occasional boxing workouts paid off as he landed precise blows, incapacitating one man after another. Donna stood frozen, her expression shifting from triumph to shock as she watched her carefully orchestrated plan fall apart. "Stop it!" she shrieked, but Josh wasn't listening. Finally, with the men subdued, Josh turned to Donna, his chest heaving and his face a mix of fury and heartbreak. "How could you?" he demanded, his voice raw. "You've betrayed me in the worst possible way over something that wasn't even real." Donna faltered, her confidence crumbling as the weight of her actions began to sink in. But before she could respond, Josh pulled out his phone and dialed 911. "I'm done playing your games, Donna," he said, his voice steady despite the chaos around him. "The police are on their way, and they'll hear everything." As Josh ended the 911 call, the basement descended into an uneasy silence. The men lay incapacitated on the floor, groaning in pain, while Donna stood rooted to the spot, her face pale. The gravity of the situation was finally dawning on her, but her pride wouldn't allow her to admit fault. "You're overreacting, Josh," she said, her voice trembling as she tried to regain control. "This was just a wake-up call. You can't seriously involve the police." Josh's glare cut through her excuses. "A wake-up call? You humiliated me, Donna. You assaulted me and dragged strangers into our marriage over a misunderstanding. This isn't just a mistake. It's criminal." The sound of sirens in the distance grew louder, signaling the imminent arrival of the authorities. Donna's bravado crumbled, replaced by panic. "Please, Josh," she whispered, tears streaming down her face. "Don't do this. We can fix this." But it was too late. The police burst through the door, their presence filling the cramped basement with authority. Josh raised his hands, explaining the situation as calmly as his adrenaline would allow. He pointed out the camera, the setup, and the injuries he had sustained while defending himself. Donna tried to explain her actions, but her story only made things worse. Her rage-fueled jealousy and premeditated plan to humiliate Josh left no room for sympathy. The officers reviewed the evidence on the camera, their expressions grim as they pieced together what had transpired. "Mrs. Hurley, you're under arrest," one officer announced, cuffing Donna as she sobbed. Josh watched in silence, a whirlwind of emotions tearing through him. Relief, anger, heartbreak, all collided in a moment that felt surreal. As Donna was escorted out of the house, Josh knew there was no going back. The days following Donna's arrest were some of the hardest of Josh's life. Though he had survived the ordeal physically, the emotional toll was immense. He filed for divorce, his legal team gathering evidence to ensure the process was swift and just. The betrayal ran deep, but Josh was determined to rebuild his life. Therapy became a cornerstone of his healing. Week by week, he unpacked the trauma, confronting not just Donna's actions but the years of mistrust and manipulation that had chipped away at his happiness. Through therapy, he began to understand the importance of setting boundaries and recognizing red flags in relationships. The media caught wind of the story, labeling Donna as part of a disturbing trend of individuals who exploited their partners under false pretenses. As the court proceedings unfolded, Josh discovered more about the group Donna had associated with, an underground network that targeted and humiliated men they believed to be unfaithful. The revelation was both shocking and validating. He wasn't alone in his experience, but it reinforced the need to stay vigilant about whom he let into his life. Though the journey was painful, Josh began to find peace. He reconnected with Lisa, whose support had been unwavering throughout the ordeal. His business continued to thrive, offering a sense of stability amidst the chaos. And while the idea of love felt distant, he remained open to the possibility, knowing that not all relationships were destined to end in betrayal. Josh's story became one of resilience and hope. Despite the scars left by Donna's actions, he refused to let them define his future. He had survived the worst, and now he was determined to thrive. The court date arrived with a heavy sense of anticipation. Josh walked into the courthouse with his attorney, his face a mixture of determination and exhaustion. The past weeks had been grueling, filled with depositions, evidence gathering, and reliving the worst night of his life. But he was ready to see this chapter come to an end. Donna sat across the room, her once confident demeanor replaced by a quiet, hollow expression. The charges against her were severe: assault, false imprisonment, and conspiracy. The camera footage, along with the testimony of Josh and the subdued men from that night, painted a clear picture of her premeditated actions. The prosecution didn't hold back, detailing how Donna's jealousy had spiraled into a dangerous obsession. They revealed her involvement with the underground group, showcasing how she had been influenced by others who shared her toxic views. It became evident that Donna had allowed her insecurities to consume her, leading to decisions that destroyed her marriage and reputation. When it was Josh's turn to testify, he spoke with candor and grace, despite the pain. He recounted the love he once felt for Donna, the slow erosion of trust due to her jealousy, and the horrifying events in the basement. His testimony was raw and human, showing not just his strength but also his vulnerability. In the end, the jury's decision was swift. Donna was convicted on multiple counts and sentenced to several years in prison. The verdict brought Josh a sense of closure, though it was bittersweet. He had loved Donna, and seeing her fall so far was a reminder of how quickly a relationship could unravel when built on a fragile foundation. As he left the courthouse, Josh felt the weight begin to lift. Justice had been served, and now he could focus on moving forward. Months passed, and life began to settle into a new rhythm for Josh. He sold the house he had shared with Donna, wanting a fresh start away from the memories that haunted its walls. He moved into a modern apartment overlooking the city, a space that felt like a clean slate. Therapy continued to play a pivotal role in his recovery. With each session, he gained insight into not only Donna's behavior, but also his own patterns in relationships. He learned to set firmer boundaries and trust his instincts, lessons that would serve him well in the future. His business flourished, and with the renewed focus, he expanded his software company, hiring a team that shared his vision. His employees often remarked on his resilience and calm demeanor, unaware of the storm he had weathered. Lisa became a constant source of support, visiting him often and reminding him of the importance of family. Their bond grew stronger, and their shared laughter became a symbol of healing. One day, while walking through a park, Josh met someone new, a woman with a kind smile and a warmth that immediately put him at ease. She wasn't a whirlwind romance, but rather a gentle reminder that life could surprise him when he least expected it. They exchanged numbers, and for the first time in a long while, Josh felt a flicker of hope for the future. As he reflected on his journey, Josh realized that his story wasn't just one of betrayal. It was one of survival, growth, and the power of resilience. He had faced unimaginable pain, but had come out the other side stronger and wiser. Josh's story serves as a powerful reminder of the importance of self-worth and the strength it takes to rebuild after betrayal. If you found this story inspiring or thought-provoking, please like, share, and comment below. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more captivating stories like this one. Thank you for watching.